Morning.
Morning.
Nashville's got off to quite a bit of success early in the start of the season. What have you seen from them, and what have been the differences since maybe even before BJ took over and to now?
Yeah, they're in a good way right now. Good rhythm, good results. I think defensive structure's been really strong for them. I think they've been tough to play against. I think they've stepped up their pressure, a little bit more than we've seen previously, even from last year when we faced them at their place. So you could see, now over months of working together, some of the changes that are, starting to show out in the games. So BJ's doing a really good job, and you can see the group has, good belief right now.
Are there things you've identified in some of the new things that you were just talking about, the way they've stepped up their pressure, perhaps, that you're looking this week in training to change from last week?
Always, a couple different shapes of, how they use Mukhtar underneath Surge or next to Surge. We've seen differences there. How they press with their wingers at times, if they're playing a back three or a back four, how the outside backs release. All those little details you kind of see in the games that we've looked at, with teams that have played different structures. So, but I think they've been pretty consistent in their approach. So we'll have to be efficient with the ball in how we want to, find space and how we can cause them problems. If you're not moving off the ball the right ways, if the spacing isn't right, they'll be difficult to play against, certainly. So those are things that we're talking about, and hopefully another good day of training today to get some ideas across and see how that translates.
You said that Saturday was kind of a unique situation, just with guys being in different positions and everything. I'm guessing you have a couple guys back, or a couple more options with at least Gilberto and maybe Kevin. I guess update on Kevin and injuries. Right. But do you feel like you have more options, or does it feel like kind of the same because you do have some injuries there?
Well, it's never ideal when your three center backs that started the game before are all unavailable, and that was the case, unfortunately, with Miles. He picked up an illness, the day before the game, and it took him 4 days. He was in a pretty bad way. So with Gilberto, obviously, it was the red card suspension, and with Teenage, he was going to be away, and then picked up an injury, so that was he was going to be out either way. I thought Nick came in and did a really good job. We were unsure there just based on fitness and where he was at, but 45 was, I think, a good amount of time for him to be pushed and not overdo it. He'll be back today. He was dealing with an illness as well, so it's kind of hit a couple guys within the team. You asked about Kevin. Kevin returns this afternoon, so we'll kind of assess where he's at after his two international games and make a decision there. So I think that's Yuya will be out. Yeah, he picked up an injury, so timeline, TBD, but we know he'll be out for this game.
So are you feeling like this is more of the same this week, where you're going to have to kind of manage some different pieces?
We have more options than not. Again, with having to play Alvis, DeAndre, Lucas as center backs, that's not ideal. And I thought under the circumstances against a strong Atlanta team, they did a good job. It wasn't perfect, certainly disappointing with the ending, but they were asked to do things that they're not asked to do all the time and put their heads down and try to do it to the best of their ability. So with Gilberto back, with Nick back, with Miles back, you get, center backs in contention to be on the field. That helps. And so with Yuya, that one's unfortunate. We're always kind of, it seems like one piece missing from week to week, but that's part of it. We got guys that are working their way back into their fitness with Dotto, with Sergio. So I don't know if I'm missing anybody else, but we just need to be healthy. We need to be competitive and have some depth to be able to continue to push the group the right way and be strong with our 11s and be strong with our reserves.
You just gave us a little more insight into Miles' illness, but just you had spoken about guys making sacrifices on Saturday, and Nick, I think, was maybe one of those. He talked about having to like really push himself to be available for the team. You have had guys play through illness before, and again, I don't know the symptoms that Miles had, and he was back in training Tuesday. But is that a situation where you might like to see your captain fight through, or was that not even?
It wasn't even an option. And Miles isn't somebody you question. excuse me, with desire to be out there helping his team. That he was not going to be able to play. So, he didn't even return to training until Tuesday, which is when we were back. That was the first, and he wasn't initially going to be available for that. So it was about a 4 or 5 day illness for him. So, you want guys to be able to push through when it doesn't take them out the way it took out Miles. But I don't question guys who miss time when I know the circumstances.
Pat, I want to ask you a question here that, reject the premise if it doesn't apply here. I noticed the stat this afternoon or yesterday that FC Cincinnati has the second furthest distance shot average. I think it's 20 yards or something, only behind New England. And hearing that, does that ring as a problem to you? And is that something you're looking to correct, or is that just don't read too much into that kind of thing?
No, we've talked about it. I think in certain moments trying to force plays, guys that are wanting to have an impact in front of goal, the decision-making hasn't been consistent. And then how we, move opponents' back line and the way we run to goal, that was something that we focused on post-Atlanta. So I would not know the stat, but I would say it probably makes sense based on what the eye tells you. And we need to do a better job of finding ways to get closer to goal and being more patient and not forcing plays when the moment's not there. So I do think that's been something that we need to improve on.
And more broadly, I guess, with the last couple of weeks having been full, I guess we can call them full training weeks, not double match weeks, I guess is maybe a better way of putting it. Are you starting to see the consistency in training specifically, having this routineness, even with the amount of absence we were just talking about? Are you starting to feel it it's a little bit stronger?
Yes and no. Like you said, we had to deal with a couple days no Miles, couple days no Nick with teenage, and Kevin away. Stefan was away for the international break. It just hasn't been consistent with the numbers and the personnel. But it was nice to have a couple weeks where we could get into a 4-day build and work on some things. And I think that was refreshing for the guys. And the trainings have been good. The energy's been good. Guys are ready to work. And I think excited to use this time because we have a nice stretch here. We're a couple weeks into it to really work on some things and work on some ideas and see how that goes. So the key for me is going day to day, week to week with more consistency within the group. And we always knew post, the 8 games that we had in that 24, 25-day period, then with the international break, it wasn't going to be this way until now. And so hopefully we can stay healthy and continue to work in a good way with the same guys.
I know you don't probably want to give too much of your game plan away, but is Kevin, because he did play 2 90-minute games over the last week, do you have to manage him at all with the travel as well? Or
we'll have to, see how he comes back, but I don't get too concerned with Kevin knowing how he takes care of himself. He's as diligent as anybody I've come across with the recovery, with being able to prepare his body and his mind to deal with, playing games, long travel. So he's in contention, and I know we'll play a part, but we'll just kind of see how he reports today, and then tomorrow morning have a better idea, be able to talk and see where he's at. But I don't have a concern with Kevin.
And then with Matt, I know we
Yeah.
try to get updates as often
Yeah.
as we can on him. Is it more mental than physical at this point? Is that fair to say, or is it?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both. It's been a long recovery, and there's been good days, there's been tough days, and I think I've said it, I guess, for weeks now. It's kind of a day by day to see where we're at, and I think there's a couple hurdles that Matt needed to get over to continue to push forward. So, he won't be available for this weekend, but I would say in the next week we expect him to be more consistent with participation, in the group, because I know it's been challenging for him.
Can I ask one more tactical question? Just it seems like you guys aren't getting as many turnovers creating as many turnovers, but you kind of had a transition moment that led to a goal on Saturday. How do you feel like that part of the game is coming for your team with the press and just creating those opportunities to go in transition?
I think we've stepped up in good ways. A little bit of how we analyzed, Atlanta and some of the previous games was recognizing the moments to step to the ball and doing it collectively. I think we've had a couple moments where the desire to go when the ball is there, but the collective isn't in the right shape. So those are some things we've talked about as far as, maybe in moments where our press was broken and why we weren't able to win the ball. That has factored into it. So it's something we've addressed, and I don't know what the numbers are, but, I would say a lot of our game right now needs to improve for us to hit the level that we're expecting. And so I'm sure you could look at a lot of data points and say this isn't what is expected. I think that's fair.